We're Byron and Jill, two hands-on people with big dreams. In 2024, we purchased 100 acres in southeast Queensland in an area called Mount Binga. We bought it on a total whim. Byron was nursing a damaged knee after a motocross accident and doing some heavy thinking. And Jill was dreaming of being closer to the mountains, the beach, her family, and riding some new mountain bike trails. We'd never heard of Mount Binga before, but the native trees, rolling hills and permanent dams seemed like the perfect place to build a new off-grid haven for us and our two boys. We're not new to building, but we are new to YouTube, so stay tuned as we get off-grid at Mount Binga.
Good morning, welcome back to Off-Grid Living at Mount Binga. This morning we've made some good progress with getting things sorted, progression with our house and removing it, getting it to site, all those sort of things. A lot of background stuff going on, but today we've got soil testing, so follow us along on this little bit and we'll see what it's all about. So in a previous episode you would have seen us mark out the house. The drone shots were amazing, we loved it. We loved doing that for you, hope you enjoyed that episode. So we have our four corners marked out on site up on our house pad here, and we've just had the team who dig the pier holes and test the soil for us arrive. Global Testing, that's who we've been recommended by our architect. Anyway, while we're on site we are also going to test for our sewage treatment plant and work out where all that needs to go as well. Like I said, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, so thanks for being patient, hanging in and hanging on, but we're getting there. It's an absolute beautiful day here at Mount Binga this morning. It is the 6th of the 6th and we've just crested into winter and we've had some 3-degree mornings. We've had some pretty windy mornings as well, but today is absolutely beautiful. Eden's our guy on the ground, and I just had a quick chat with him to see what his plan is today. He's got 2 holes to put into the house pad, pretty simple, and then he's got only 2 holes to put where the effluent design goes for our sewage treatment, so also pretty simple. He's just having a walk around and he'll scope the area out and work out a plan. You pulled out 3 different heights there. Eden, was that the plan?
No, well, it's just sort of the different layers.
Different layers.
So I've got the different types and colours and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So it is all pretty similar stuff once you get past your bit of the fill batter that you platform that you got here. So.
Sure. And you can just tell that by the colour that's coming out, then you'll stop and feel what that is?
Yeah, well I can sort of feel it with the gel too if it changes sort of to a harder material.
Yeah, okay. Yep. And what do you call that? Is it clay base or is it more sandy?
It's a silty clay.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, sure. Yep. Which you'd expect. Which part was the fill? Could you see a bit of fill in here?
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, where it's just on the top bit?
Yeah,
a certain amount.
400 to 500
okay.
mils.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Yep.
And then it changed to like that sort of that brown, that colour.
Yeah. Yep.
It was a bit, different.
Yep. Oh yeah. So you do a little pinch test, do you?
Yeah, well, it also, it sort of feels a bit like makeup. It just helps tell the difference between the clays, because you can get a sandy clay which has got more sand in it and then, yes.
How far did you punch down, do you think?
3 metres.
Oh, 2.
Yep.
Yep.
Eden's now performing what's called a dynamic cone penetration test. I'm not 100% sure how it all works, but basically there's a steel cone attached to a rod, a drop hammer and a guide tube, and he's driving it into the ground blow by blow to work out the physical properties of the soil. This test will complement his previous soil sampling and will give us, well, our engineers, some more details about the physical properties of the soil. Its strength, its density, its bearing capacity, the thickness of the subsoil, that kind of thing. And then all of this info is going to be used by the engineers to work out the stumping requirements for the house, how many stumps we need to hold the house up, and therefore how many pier holes will need to be dug and what depth. We're only stumping the house as a low set, so that should keep this pretty straightforward. These results will also be used to work out our treated effluent disposal area, but more on that later.
This little guy right here is the baby hoop pine. Looks like he's grown in the middle of nowhere, but he's surrounded by some gorgeous big hoop pines, all his mates around him. And before we got here, he was stuck under grass and lantana, whatever you'd like to call it. So I've exposed him and I've been cleaning up as we go. Little by little we're getting this place cleaned up. It's going to take years and years. But in the meantime, this guy we're going to watch grow. He's going to be a big, big tree. Another big golden orb. We've got plenty of these guys on the block. And when we ride the four-wheeler around or I'm on the flower mower, I'm constantly on the lookout. Perched up in the perfect spot to get all the bugs. Eden's under hole number 2. It's just rinse and repeat. He'll set up his auger in the right spot, drill down ½ metre at a time, feel the soil, test the soil. He just feels for what it is, clay or silt, rock, whatever it might be. He'll go again, as you can hear, and it'll pull up and go again. Might seem like a boring job, but it's very important we get this part of the build spot on. Second hole is drilled and complete. And now we move on to the next little bit. It's just sussing out where we're going to put the drainage for the sewage. We just walked around, Eden and I, and we found a watercourse that would push down into the dam, which may be a concern. Otherwise, we have found another spot, which is just down here. Yes, all this water does eventually go to the dam, but some of it quicker than other sections. So it's important we find the best spot. Yep, sure is a little bit of a valley there.
And then you got this bit here.
Yeah.
Sort of snakes back down and then head towards the dam.
Yeah, too right.
Through those trees.
Yep.
So we got to keep 10 metres off this.
Oh yeah, I see.
So this trees, say from about here.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 10 metres that way, but I'll have to walk that way a bit more to make sure there's not another one there.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
And then yeah, we've got to keep 2 metres off the driveway also.
Okay. Yep. Oh yes, you want to make sure you're then not 10 metres away from another one.
Yeah.
This way.
Because the area would be roughly about 240 square metres of disposal area.
Oh yeah, righto. Yep. Yep.
It's almost another one just here. But it's not as visible as that one. Which you might be able to fill it in, like flatten it out and with a bit of topsoil or something just to smooth it out.
This one?
Yeah, you can barely, like you can sort of see it where it sort of
Yeah.
comes through,
Yep.
down.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're going to have a
Yeah.
lot of them anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Because then the only other option, if there's too many of them here, is putting it on that grassed area.
Oh yeah, down on that side.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I think this area will be right there. Because it's not real. It looks like one, but it's not really like where it from what comes off where your cut was.
Yep.
Down, it looks like it goes. Well, you can see it goes through.
Yeah.
There.
Yep.
But the majority of the water should all go there instead of only.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. The catch off this zone here is minimal versus what's
Yeah,
going
what's
down
up
that
there, and then
drain
it's
as
that,
such.
and
Yeah, yep.
You could almost turn anything into a watercourse if you wanted to.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, that one was quite noticeable.
Yep.
It's where the cattle walk up and down.
Yeah, the cow pad. Yep.
And now, with the best effluent irrigation areas selected, Eden got to work again. The goal here is to make sure that the treated effluent irrigation area is big enough that it won't cause any runoff or seepage, because we don't want any environmental issues, either for ourselves or for the wildlife and cattle that like to drink from our dam. There's not a lot more to do now but wait. Wait for the approval documents to be written up and submitted to council, and then wait for our slot in the house removers schedule to arrive. And then in the meantime, we get to spend the rest of winter in our cosy and sometimes chilly shed, discussing our plans, exploring the surrounding area, going for long walks with the dogs, hosting friends and family, and just enjoying our time out here. It's just us, our 2 boys, and of course there's the bees. The bees have lived here for longer than us. Byron's dad Steve brought a few of his hives up here when we first bought the place, and he would come out to check on them and the place for us before we moved here. Steve's an old hat at beekeeping, and he talks about it more on his own channel, Aussie Bucking. He also doesn't seem to mind getting stung, which is more than I can say about myself. But the bees do tend to calm down a bit with a bit of smoke.
It's very hot. So it's all bird comb. They're all full. They're not capped out though, so there's still a bit more work for them to do, but they're getting full.
And as Byron tried to better protect himself from the bees, Steve continued checking all of the hives. He was checking the amounts of honey that had been produced so far, and also looking for the presence of any pests which are known to exist in hives in Australia. Some were making good honey, but others still had more to produce before we could harvest it. Our own Binga bees making hoop pine honey. We can't wait to try it. And that about wraps it up for this episode. So tell us, what would you like us to show you in the next one? We're always open to ideas from our followers. Stay tuned.